Hello again, everyone. Back to work today on the 68 Chevy truck. Our part one of our series. We got the fuel tank mounted in the frame, and I've taken it back out and I'm getting ready to undercoat the frame. Didn't film the spraying the undercoat on. I had a mask on, so you couldn't have heard me if I'd tried to say something anyway. Couldn't have understood me. But tried to do inside the frame rails, down through there. Well, there's the frame rails after we undercoated them. So we're going to go ahead and put the tank brackets back on. And probably go ahead and put the tank in, because we're going to have to cut the hole for the fuel pump in the top of the tank, and probably be better if we had it in the truck. There's a furnace kicking on. About 30 degrees this morning here around the house. So we got to have a little bit of heat on. Try to keep it around 60 here while we're working. That's not too bad. Ratchet wrenches, I really like those. Like this area here, you couldn't get a socket on these without cutting the bolts off, so the ratchet wrenches really work good. And make sure they're both tight. Ready to set the tank in and fasten the other side brackets. See how it looks. Here's a close-up of this bracket on the exhaust, and you can see it would just about work on that bolt. I think maybe if I straighten this out right here and put a bend right up here in the end, probably would work under that bolt. I'm going to put this peel off foam on each lip of the tank here. Just kind of keep it from vibrating, make it kind of stay where it's supposed to be. Now we'll put the tank in and tighten it down. Okay, we got the nuts on the two hook bolts there, and we're going to just check the alignment from side to side. Make sure it's setting where we want it. Okay, both the straps are tight. We got the spacings the same from side to side. And I'm pretty sure this bracket's going to work on this pipe. See how I was able to bend it around. May need to do some more bending right here to get the pipe away from the tank a little better. This side, when you push the pipe over to where it really belongs, you see it's hitting that bracket. We're going to have to make a different curve in this bracket where it comes out, and the pipe will clear then. And one thing I did notice, the bed fastens here. There's a bolt right here. Get it in there, you can see there's still room. If you put a straight edge across there, we've got just enough room for the rubber pipe to connect to the cap. So it's very well designed. There's enough room for that. It's not going to hit anything on the bed. We just have to cut our hole for the cap. We should be good to go there. I've been working on the exhaust pipe hanger, and I got it. Got some clearance here and up around it. It's not hitting anything. I was able to use the original hanger there and fasten it up, so it's good and stout. This one looks good too. Good and tight, and it's not hitting anything. So Well, it's about lunchtime. Pretty good morning's progress. Tank looks good. Exhaust pipe's all fastened back. Our next step will be to bore the hole in the top of the tank for the fuel pump. The fuel pump will go right here, so we'll want to bore the hole for it. I have a magnet in here. Hopefully get some of the shavings. And I'll take a shot bite, get the rest of them. Hopefully that'll keep from getting too many down in there. Oh, and I can, big hole like that, I can take a magnet and get the shavings out that way too. There's a few of the metal shavings got out of the bottom with the magnet. There's the plug that fell to the bottom. But I think if we keep fishing down in there with the magnet, we'll get most of the shavings out anyway. Okay, next we're going to mount the fuel pump in the tank. We have the hole bored. I cleaned it out, cleaned the metal shavings out of the bottom of the tank. I vacuumed it out. So it should be ready for the pump. Here's all of the pump assembly. And the way this works, you get this C-ring, it's called, and this goes underneath the top of the tank. It's got a lip on it. You can see it right there. That lip fits around the hole that we bored. See, it will set down on, only it goes underneath like that. We have to mount it with these little bolts. And the way this works, you take these bolts, they thread into this C-ring. You can see the threads right there in that one. And once you thread them in, you thread them into the bottom like that. And then when you put your collar in the tank, those threads will be sticking up. And then this cap will line up with those bolts. And then you put these nuts on here. And there's some O-rings also that go with it. So the first thing we got to do is make her some marks to bore the 6 holes for the bolts. In looking at this ring again, probably do want to turn it to where the 12-volt wire, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a foam gasket between the top of the housing and the ring, but I'm assuming right like that. That should keep it away from the 12-volt wire. If you turned it, then it might be setting against it, yeah. So I would say like that. Okay, I have my holes marked where the ring fastens. Well, we're ready to drill the 6 holes. They're 1/4 inch holes that we need. So what I've done, I put duct tape underneath the tank, underneath the holes. Then I took strips of duct tape and taped to that tape on top. So I think we can catch any shavings that get into the tank. Those are our 6 holes we bored. Now we've got our holes bored in the tank, so now we thread these bolts through these 6 holes. Next thing we need to do is measure the length of this housing from it to the bottom of the tank so we can get our pump mounted in the right position too. So our tank is 11 inches. 11 inches from the top. After you put the sock on the bottom of the pump, measure from the bottom of the sock to the top of the housing right here. And we want, the tank is 11 inches, so we want 1/8 of an inch less than that. So we want 10 7/8 from the bottom of the sock to the top of this to the underside of this housing. Okay, now we got to put our return tube on, and it needs to be like a 1/4 inch above the bottom of the tank. So, and to get this hose to go on the fitting, I just heat it with a lighter. Doesn't take much, just warm it up a little bit and it'll slide right on. And we'll put a clamp on it. Turn the clamp in so it won't interfere with the C-ring. Now the last thing we'll do is we're going to put cable ties, wrap these together with some cable ties. Put one down here on the pump, one right here, and then one up here. Alright, there's the pump assembly, ready to go in. So that's the next step. So we'll put our ring in. There we go. Now we'll put our foam gasket on top of that, and that will actually hold the ring in also. Alright, see, that holds the ring. Now we're ready for the fuel pump. And it'll go right like that. Put an O-ring on each one. Okay, got the pump mounted. Next thing we're going to do is put the stock sending unit in for the fuel gauge. This sending unit just has the ring like they've used for years. There's an O-ring underneath it, which is right there. Center of that, there's 2 notches. A notch here and a notch here. That's how it positions. And just put the ring in and tap it around, and that'll tighten it up. This ground wire needs to be attached to a good ground. We'll do that too. When you tighten this ring, there's stops right here. You can see them. You just keep tightening until they hit each stop. Well, that's all for part 2 of the fuel tank install. Everything's bolted in. We got the pump installed today. We got the sending unit put in, ready to hook up. So our next step is run the lines to the front, and we'll tackle that in part 3. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching. We hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, and we'd love it if you would subscribe to our channel. Thanks.